So Dave, he was a 6'4", 240, 250, just mountain of a man. I'm 5'2", so I appreciated the strength and the presence that he brought. Dave and I ended up dating for about 4 to 6 months in the Air Force. Deep down inside, he was very compassionate. He treated me so tenderly, and we basically just decided that we were gonna go ahead and get married just to see if the Air Force would put us together. So Dave and I both active duty. Dave was a logistics officer. I was an acquisition officer. Dave had multiple times tried to volunteer to go deploy. He left in the fall of September 2012 and left for training for 3 or 4 months, came home for 2 or 3 weeks, and then left for Afghanistan in February of 2013. And I was deployed as well to Afghanistan later that fall. Once I got moved to Kabul at Camp Phoenix, Dave actually came and had to pick up some supplies over Christmas, so we ended up being able to spend Christmas 2013 together. Every day with Dave was the best day of my life. That's just kind of how we live. And so December 25th was the best day of my life. I had a down day as far as didn't have a whole lot of work to do. He got his work done early in the morning, and so we basically worked out, ate a lot, and watched some movies together. So we spent Christmas Day together. I had to fly out the next day. He was supposed to fly out that night, and it was about a 7-minute flight. The air was black, so the bird didn't fly that night. So he got up the next morning, found another flight at about 11 o'clock. I talked to him at 10:45 on the 27th, and it was the last time I talked to him. He had gotten permission to take a convoy back to Camp Moorhead. It was about a 45-minute drive, and just about a couple hundred yards outside of Camp Phoenix, he was hit by a suicide vehicle bomb. And so I tried to text him, I tried to call him, I tried to Skype him, I tried to do anything I could to get a hold of him. It took a good 4 to 5 hours, and in the midst of all my silence and my tears and just the hell that it was waiting to get notified, I just grabbed my iPad and I played Desperation Strong God on repeat because I didn't really know what else to do. So just to have that peace and that presence of that song, something that we had sung together here in church, was kind of really the only thing that I could stand at that time. Like I said, about 4 or 5 hours after I got that text, the commander of the unit we were deployed to, the first sergeant and the chaplain, came in to notify me that on behalf of the Secretary of Defense and the United States Air Force, your husband was killed. I think of one of 2 wives that have ever been able to bring their spouses home from a deployed environment where they were killed in action. And so when I landed in Germany, I think I briefly talked to Pastor Mel, and he said, I want to give you and provide for you whatever you guys need. When Pastor Mel said anything, I said, all right, well, I'd like to maybe have a visitation. And he said, well, would you like to have the service here as well? I was like, well, how much is it going to cost? He goes, no, this is what we do. This is church. You're our family. And so I was just blown away. I didn't really know how all that worked, but I thought it was pretty incredible that they basically said, blank check, whatever you want, whatever you need. A lot of people will talk about how big this church is, but it's never been more of a family to me. And it's not just because Dave was killed that people knew my name. They knew our name before Dave was killed. And so the community and the folks that just wrapped their arms around me, and not just the pastoral care, but in our section community, but specifically in our row, we do life together. A lot of times, sometimes we just sit and pray and worship together. A lot of times they'll just sit and let me cry. And the best thing that I think that you can do for somebody that's walking the path that I'm walking is just sit and be with them. While I can't ever be thankful necessarily for losing my husband, I can certainly be thankful for the journey that I've experienced. And growing up in the church and growing up in New Life and growing up with this community that surrounds me and seeing how God has been so intentional and so purposeful in this suffering and being free to acknowledge that in a church, in an environment like this, has been crucial. I think God allows us to travel and walk this road so that we have a dependence on Him, so that we can walk through life in community, and so that we can grow and just long for the hope that we have